When the war of the beasts brings about the world's end, the goddess descends from the sky.
Square Enix's use of many squares are a direct reference to mandalas, found in Buddhism and Eastern religion. In Rebirth, this image is used as a type of the temple of the universe and referenced as a nested path of Buddhist enlightenment, aka the Noble Eightfold Path. Situated atop the sequence of squares is a seven-pointed diadem. This crown is highly suggestive of the lotus flower, a flower depicting rebirth and reincarnation, with the ultimate goal of being delivered from said cycle. Above the temple itself, or even our own temple, are circles that glow with the bitterness of prayer, the black materia. These circles are integral to the mandala path of enlightenment. The black materia is harmonized with Jewish mysticism as we see 32 paths of wisdom emanating outward like rays of truth. And to make matters worse, Sephiroth, the one-winged angel, an avatar of Satan being cast down from heaven 2,000 years ago, is the epitome of these false religions. A quick comparison of Genova synthesis and Dreamweaver confirms the Eastern amalgamation. Genova's lotus flower body is positioned on top of golden squares. Defeating her still leads to safer Sephiroth, who is wearing the diadem. But let's not forget to remember the white side of this Eastern circle. It is not lost on me that the water altar is behind a Torii gate, a demarcation point between the world and a sacred place, and by also associating Aerith with the sacred place of a traditional Christian church, these religions are once more blurred. I'd wager that this location is the future white chamber from the OG and will have 24 windows or points as a possible depiction of time inside the circle. Rebirth is already littered with references to Buddhist teachings found in symbols pertaining to the Dharma chakra or the Ashoka chakra, their idea of a wheel with 24 spokes. The number 24 is likely the idea behind the Sky Wheel, Cosmo Candle, Proto-Relics, and the Genji Shield. However, hopefully I can provide more on this number 24 in another video, but using a different lens. I am no expert in Buddhism, so perhaps Professor Noctis's upcoming video will give the topic due justice. With that said, FF7 is a masterpiece of storytelling that plays off of world religions.
If you mean a place where they worshipped gods, none exist. The Cetra never engaged in such practices.
I didn't know that.
Maybe it was referred to as such by someone ignorant of their culture.
It uses internal subjective truth to visualize the concept of good and evil, while also blurring each like a grayed out yin and yang. Rebirth has introduced us to two different goddesses, the Emerald Witch and Shadow Blood Queen, though they are conceptually one and the same.
Game over!
Worship of the divine feminine has been handed down throughout the ages. A purple apple blessing of mystery religion.
Okay, let's eat.
The conquest for power over mother divinity figures in Rebirth, which I'll dub Magna Mater, is the end goal of Shinra's Magnus Materia project.
The next order of business is the Magnus Materia project. As you are aware,
the irony isn't lost on me that both goddesses are crowned with a seven-pointed diadem, a truism of lovelessness. Okay, rant over and on to what I really want to talk about by starting at Rebirth's ending.
The hell?
During the ending, the black materia is still with a clone, same as in the OG.
The reunion.
The act of equipping the materia into the sword is illustrating that Sephiroth Reborn's core is now the outer sheath holding our Buster Sword legacy, concealing the inner truth of who Cloud should be. This bizarro core of crisis is emblematic of our own inner strife as we face many tribulations in this postmodern world. Let's, if only for a moment, escape from our own reality and focus on the sequence of our boy Chadley's VR battles. After a series of brutal challenges, the seventh seal is finally opened, allowing us to conquer the rulers of the outer world. These summons are all false gods or lesser Elohim that rule the world as territorial deities. There is much to be said about this topic if I can ever get to the Divine Sanctuary video. Anyhow, after virtually defeating the world, we still have to overcome the flesh and the devil. These are the legendary challenges that refer our focus to oneself. First, we must fight the fight with Zack, a depiction of overcoming our own flesh. Finally, we have the fight with Sephiroth, or as Jung would say, our shadow. This idea is the entire purpose of the Temple of Ancients that prevents us from proceeding forward in time.
O warrior, weary though thou art, inward must thou now turn. Reflect on thy long and bloody path, and kindle life's fire anew. Forget not thine ire, for it shall remake thee.
Rolling out the red carpet for us?
Sorta. We're each supposed to face some kind of trial.
I guess you get to sit this one out.
Typical.
I'll wait out here.
Which leads me to this quote from the Jungian psychologist Ludwig Paneth. The Book of Revelation creates, or at least intensifies, the conflict which its visions ultimately seek to resolve. This theory finds support in a certain psychological dimension of the number 7, the dominant number of the book. The number 7 has a qualitatively different character in dreams from smaller primary numbers. 7 and larger primary numbers represent in dreams circumstances which cannot be reduced any further, situations which cannot be resolved, at least not in this world and this life. Such a situation may involve either the inner or outer factors of a person's life. This connotation of the number 7 from the perspective of depth psychology fits well with the major themes of Revelation. For example, the theme of irreconcilable conflict between the kingdom of God and Caesar. The expected persecution cannot be ignored, evaded, or overcome in any way except by individual death and cosmic destruction.
Nailed it. I know. Thank you. Moving on.
Now, with that Jungian dream reference stated, the black materia and Temple of Ancients are the circumstances which cannot be reduced any further. The theme of loss and grief weigh heavily on each of these 7 friends as they are forced to remake themselves. Their handling of tribulation serves as a stark juxtaposition to Cloud's own great tribulation that he perpetuates, resulting in everyone on Gaia being subject to the cycle of suffering. Though I use the opening of the 7th seal figuratively for personal great tribulation, the literal truth is just as real. But keeping to the developer's theme for FF7, if Cloud overcomes his loss, it could preclude the literal apocalypse. As mentioned with the square image of the Buddhist mandala, the problem for Cloud is resolving the recursive boundary of his own base case. Per my previous videos, FF7 OG is the base case for all of these, well, let's just call them dreams. The events in Remake at Destiny's Crossroads have torn Cloud away from the solution, a time in the past when his childlike subconscious state could be made singular upon inheriting the Buster Sword.
What is the future if not the product of choices past? Each a fork in the road. None can divine the conclusion of every path.
So hopefully some of you programmers out there may catch the analogy.
Let go of the past, Cloud. For the future is bright.
The idea of looking within leads me to theorize that just as the black materia at Journey's End is an illusion, so too is the clear materia. Their current locations, i.e. at the bottom of the lake and in a clone's hand, along with their lack of tangibility, align thematically with the sleeping forest's own purpose and timing. It's an ethereal moment where neither Cloud's body nor the forest is really awake. The sleeping forest is a personification of Cloud, in which we face an endless loop if we try to pass through the forest unprepared in the initial visit. This forest cannot be awakened without the lunar harp. Why am I drawing such a strange parallel and association? Well, the harp's name can be equated with the Roman goddess of the moon called Luna, or in the Greek, Selene. Let's trace back Tifa's family tree. She has Titan parents, specifically Theia and Hyperion, who had 3 children, Eos, Helios, and Selene, which is the moon, and their great-grandmother was Gaia. And to really go off the deep end, I'll even go so far as to say that her parents are now the adolescent weapons in Rebirth. Consider Tifa's association with dolphins and have another quick look at Aerith's mural. In her livestream sequence, we have these 2 planetary whales that are associated with the dolphin and the moon in Aerith's mural. This same weapon at Corel, as it emerges above the water, sounds like a dolphin. So I'm way off course, and let's go back to the forest.
Hello? I know you're in there.
Within it is where both of the hypothetical materia exchanges occur for both Aerith and Sephiroth, deep in the recesses of Cloud's subconscious before his true awakening. The same abstract thought is a parallel of how I've been trying to explain the interlude world. This unseen, whisperless spiritual realm featuring Zack should be considered in parallel to Cloud's physical world with visible whispers.
We got separated in the fog and...
I've also suggested in the Singularity of Cloud video that the invisible gray whispers were made visible because of Cloud. After Remake, they were divided back into black and white whispers. They are still the visible evidence of his struggling subconscious and the looming guide of his conscious efforts.
That way.
Being led by Shadow.
And how can you be so sure?
Desiring the outcome of predestined fate.
Sometimes you just know.
Who are you?
The Gray Cloud and OG.
Show yourself! It cannot be.
Forgive me. I mistook you for Saruman.
I am Saruman. Rather Saruman as he should have been.
Steeped in our one desire, purest of materia no more, with pain and spite made black.
Cloud, don't let her fool you. She has no scar.
You have no scar.
It's why Tifa is clothed in black and white.
She's not
You're
Tifa.
not Tifa. You can't be.
We've been over this. I do have a scar. I showed you, remember?
Liar.
But again, white, black, or gray, the whispers are Cloud's. For instance, outside the prayer altar, it's why he could open the whisper wall into the sanctuary at the Forgotten Capital, but still have his body held captive from saving or killing Aerith. And more on that to come. But, however, if you still don't want to think of Cloud as FF7's primordial monad, then it's just as cool to think of the whispers as Cetra, Gi, people, angels, or demons. And as another side note, in biblical terms, the South Semitic and West Semitic meaning of the name Yahweh means to blow and cause to be, respectively. Or if put together, we have he blows and causes to be. Sounds like the Holy Spirit to me.
Got a question for you all.
What?
Ever been attacked by an invisible enemy? Wearing robes. Came and went like the wind.
Thought they were invisible.
They were, at first. Only saw them after she grabbed me.
Using both of these meanings, I'm going to overanalyze the Zack scene where we see the gray whispers make the bullet miss. It's a moment showing that the planet was saving Cloud's past self at Destiny's Crossroads by preserving the spirit of Zack. But hey, Eastern philosophy twists the truth of he causes to be and names it Yogacara. And no, I'm not trying to combine these ideas into something new age like the NAR or a new type of emergent Christianity.
I've got one too.
You and everybody and their mother.
Not like mine, no. It's special. Mine's not good for anything at all.
Okay, but what I really wanted to talk about in this video does piggyback off of Yogacara and the arbitrary nature of Aerith's death scene with past and future implications for Holy.
Bet you just don't know how to use it.
Could be.
What do we know about Holy, and when did it really activate, and not to mention start moving in the OG? Back in 1997, we know that it finally moves once Sephiroth is supposedly removed from Cloud's subconscious. At that moment, Aerith's prayers to the planet are answered, allowing it to address the incoming meteor. It's as if the planet couldn't answer Holy's prayers until Cloud made up his mind. Feels like they are one and the same. So how can Aerith, an ancient, Holy, or even the planet itself stop a meteor? In terms of chronology, Holy is prayed for before the black materia is even in Sephiroth's hands. That tells me that the only way to really stop Meteor is to never hand it over to Sephiroth in the first place. But if Cloud truly is holding it at Rebirth's end, then Aerith has always known it is a predestined, foregone conclusion, much like an apocalypse of Revelation. This pending judgment brings us back to the seventh seal. Cloud, aka Sephiroth, aka Cloud, and not to mention each one of us have our own personal wormwood of great tribulation. Post-OG, back into the retrilogy, Aerith must know that the only way to shape and preserve the flesh of Gaia is to shape the mind of Cloud via his subconscious.
We who were born of the planet, with her we speak, her flesh we shape. Unto her promised land shall we one day return. By her loving grace and providence, may we take our place in paradise.
The point of the video is, when does the holy materia really glow green? In the OG, we didn't actually see it glow until the return trip with Bugenhagen and after using the Key of the Ancients. You might be led to assume that it activated immediately upon her death, but just wasn't shown to us until later. That's a fair assumption since we didn't actually see it hit the bottom, but I think it is a misguided one. The glowing of holy is the story's anachronistic revelation that occurs precisely when it can be understood, and not a moment sooner. However, it sure does feel similar to the 3-year hiatus that developers have used to split the fulfillment of Aerith's death scene in Rebirth, which leads me to say that only the impact of Aerith's death finally being realized by Cloud causes it to glow. This may be how we were supposed to interpret it back in 1997. Here is some debatable evidence pertaining to the timing. I do not know Japanese, and there seems to be a few different ways to translate this section of the Ultimania Omega. Regardless, I think that either way the process of holy is the same. It takes the prayer of Aerith to reach the planet, or Cloud, allowing him to respond with the hope she placed in him.
This isn't about me, though. It's about saving the world. And you.
And I think that the activation of holy did and will happen in real time, with its recollection shown by the giant materia in the White Chamber. The disjointed sacrificial death scene perfectly ties into Rebirth in another manner too. The in-between nature of reality is separated with the life stream glowing upon Cloud's frozen, or paused, sword. Cloud's intentions to play the hero and save her were depicted, but held back. This restraint shows how Holy has been held back from its purpose throughout all of FF7. Holy is restrained at the end of OG while in the heart of the planet, only to be restrained again during events on the surface above Midgar. And let me speculate once more that I think it is because On the Way to a Smile had already started at this point.
I'm waiting, Cloud.
And in Rebirth, we've seen this negative power opposing Holy heightened, with prayers being converted into bitterness outside the prayer altar. Let's quickly recount events in Rebirth leading up to the end.
The black materia shall summon the destroyer of worlds.
The one-winged angel manifests outside the Singularity vision as Cloud's intentions were played out by giving the black materia to Sephiroth. Both Cloud and Aerith recognize the ominous black feather foreshadowing her fate that awaits on the horizon. As Cloud and Aerith fall downward past the spiraling tree roots into a state of unconsciousness, so too does the world and time stop. Upon exiting this forest, out flows a swarm of Cloud's black whispers that he attributes to Sephiroth.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say those hoes are fixing to get in our way again.
Look at them, though.
Yeah. They're different. Don't belong to fate or the planet. They belong to Sephiroth.
I'm waiting, Cloud.
Cloud's uttering of that name elicits the mnemonic device bringing forth Sephiroth's appearance.
What is all this?
It's the end!
It's an appearance that is the catalyst and result of the prior Wormwood meteor vision. Upon its absorption, he again dons the trademark black wing that defines him as Singularity Sephiroth.
Good, Aerith. Pray.
The Singularity traveling Sephiroth takes advantage of the portal slit in the Cloud's mind and cracks open the sky, going back into the other part of his subconscious world.
It's upon us. The reunion. When worlds merge. When spite and sorrow are harvested to feed the planet.
And then Sephiroth encourages Aerith to continue praying so that the hopes of her prayer move towards the planet, or shall I say cloud. In doing so, the primordial monad subconscious is further deprived of hope and even identity, as Sephiroth's appearance alone is enough to transform it into anger. And ironically, it's from this same subconscious source where Zack, aka the Lord Remembers, aka our other man of hope, is still abiding.
Sephiroth! Hey!
The abomination that makes desolate is about to enter the holy place.
You want a piece of me?
No, not you.
Thought I'd toss that one in for free. In hindsight, the Forgotten Capital is a repeat of a cycle. Think of how Sephiroth forced Aerith to act with Holy upon the Singularity portal of Cloud's mind in Remake. And now Sephiroth is doing the same thing by reconsuming more of that already cast Holy that Cloud had just recovered for her. To take it one step further, they foreshadow the end of the original game, not only by the manner of how we descend via a makeshift rock staircase to fight Jenova and Bizarro, but also Sephiroth is guarding Holy, like he's some kind of guardian cherub. In both instances, Aerith's prayers are hindered from taking effect and saving the planet, that is, Cloud. To wind it down, the paradox is that Aerith is the last Cetra and the only one who can stop Meteor by the holy materia.
His ways are a mystery.
And that through her prayers, she unknowingly, or maybe wittingly, is summoning Cloud.
What is this?
A man who's predestined himself to carry not only the burden of creation, but also destruction. Though Cloud and Sephiroth each are given these descriptions, they are really one and the same.
Careful now. That which lies ahead does not yet exist.
And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp 2-edged sword, and his countenance was as the sun shineth in his strength.
Our world will become a part of it one day, but I will not end. Nor will I have you end.
And when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead.
The edge of creation. Cloud, lend me your strength. Let us defy destiny together.
And he laid his right hand upon me, saying unto me, Fear not, I am the first and the last. I am he that liveth and was dead.
Never.
And behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And have the keys of hell and of death. Write the things which thou hast seen, and the things which are, and the things which shall be hereafter. The mystery of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 candlesticks which thou sawest are the 7 churches.
Not yet. "7 seconds till the end. Time enough for you, perhaps. But what will you do with it? Let's see."
And let me know if you want to hear more opaque esoteric allusions to the Book of Revelation found in Final Fantasy VII.